Back down the right for Sariki, who's going to emerge from the challenge into the area. Sariki into the middle, first time touch. Tyrese Campbell brought it into the corner. He celebrates in front of John Street. And as we approach the half-hour mark, Sheffield United are flying here at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 2, Coventry City 0.
Should Tyrese Campbell be looked at by the Jamaica Football Federation? Join Premier 7 right now for the big chat. If you expect the worst, you're only denying someone a chance to be better. This is a quote written by Sanju Mandana as it links to the Jamaica men's national team in search of a striker that can bring the country to a newer and higher heights. Greetings and welcome to Premier 7 yet again, everyone, with your host, Ryan Nelson. I hope that you all are having a fantastic day. As you would say, as fans, you want to see players who wants to play for the badge. But sometimes, in order to know if they want to, we have to go out there and make the effort in getting them. Am I right? Absolutely. So today's topic is all about Tyrese Campbell, a talent Jamaica must pursue, the truth revealed. From this, I will be talking about the latest news, who is he, his profile and scouting report, weakness and concern, should Jamaica pursue him, and then I will conclude. From this topic, it was generated from a recent video that I covered on a Keenan Davis, a striker that I believe Jamaica should go for. But looking on what one of my supporters states in the comment section, Jonathan Forbes, that is, mentioned that we should try for Campbell, a Sheffield United player. I also then replied to say, greetings, thanks for commenting. I think I'll organize a video on him once he's eligible to represent. And in that case, he is on the board to represent Jamaica based on eligibility. From that, I have to say a massive, massive shout out to Mr. Forbes for the comment and also for those in the comment section. Holistically, thank you all for being here for Premier 7. On screen, you can see I have 1,761 subscribers. Then again, if you're new, please go ahead and subscribe. And if you are already a subscriber, then you know what to do. So people, my question to you is, do you think the players that we currently have as striking options, can they bring Jamaica to the other level? We have the Gold Cup to think about. We have the World Cup qualifiers to think about. Isn't it a case that you believe that we want to have some more strikers, or let's say players who can upgrade the country's chance to produce better results in other games? I think you would like for that to happen. So the latest news surrounding a Tyrese Campbell was all about, again, that he played for Sheffield United against a team that some of our Jamaican players are a part of. For example, a Joel Latibodier. The team is Coventry City. So the news states here, and it was written in the Mail Online, that Sheffield United 3, Coventry City 1. Tyrese Campbell copies Alexander Isak's iconic celebration as Blades beat Frank Lampard's side to top the championship. Now, people, please don't turn on Frank Lampard. Since he went to Coventry City, his career has revamped. So it has to be something different that led to his team getting a beaten from Tyrese Campbell's team. So from the paper here written by Justin Palmer, big up yourself, it says that Chris Wilder said he could enjoy his weekend after Sheffield United made light work of playoffs hopefuls Coventry to take another big step towards a Premier League return. How far are they? So Gus Hammer opened the scoring against his former club with a brilliant free kick. And after Tyrese Campbell, I repeat, Tyrese Campbell had put the host 2-0 up at halftime, Ryan Burster added a game clinching third to put the Blades back on top of the championship. Back on top of the championship, which shows you then that if all goes well, if everything continues on the same pace or on the same platform that these guys are performing, then they will see themselves back into the English Premier League. They're ahead of teams like Leeds, who will play Swansea at home, and they're also above other teams that I think would be very much competitive, like a Burnley. So we're seeing here then that this team that Tyrese Campbell is representing in a Sheffield United is making waves in championship. And of course, it is a brilliant look to say then that, I mean, Tyrese Campbell, he is doing something good in terms of scoring goals. So, who is a Tyrese Campbell? Because I think that you guys are curious to know. I think Mr. Forbes will already know, but let me just give you some information. So, he was born on the 28th of December 1999. So, he's currently 25. He was born in England, but he's eligible to play for Jamaica because of his father. He plays the forward position, and in terms of height, he's 6 foot. So he's at that level close to a Shamar Nicholson, are almost the same like Nicholson and or a Michael Antonio. Based on his youth career, he represented Manchester City. Latibody was in that academy before, but this was between the year of 2014 to 16. Then he went on to go to Stoke. Now, the crucial part of his senior career is that between 2018 to 2024, being a Stoke City player, this guy wraps up a lot of games. He played in 146 games for Stoke City, 31 goals. Then to Shrewsbury Town on loan, 15 appearances, 5 goals. And then originally now playing for Sheffield United, 27 games, 10 goals. And England basically played at the under 17 level and under 20 level. Now, people, I can understand that you guys may not want to talk about a Tyrese Campbell because in your minds, he may not be that person who wants to play for Jamaica. Did he come out and say that? Absolutely not. But born in England, he may want to get a chance. But is there a chance? We never can tell. There's a long list in terms of players who are there to represent, and Jamaica having a chance, being a blessed nation to have players who have the eligibility to represent us, why not making it our duty to get at least a look and make an effort? And if they turn us down, then we can say at least we try. I mentioned earlier on that this guy is eligible to play for Jamaica due to the fact that his father is of our descent. So let's talk about more details surrounding the player based on statistical evidence and also, let's say, his profile in general. So for Tyrese Campbell, so far in the championship, 27 appearances. If you're seeing what is taking place here, 27 appearances for his team, 10 goals, 1 assist. He covers a fair amount of minutes, starting 11, 42%, 38 minutes. That is almost half. And goal participation, 20%. To let you know, this guy is a versatile player. So he can play right across the board as a right winger, as a left winger. But his central position is that of being the center forward. Now, if I should compare him to a Michael Antonio in terms of clubs being played for, Sheffield United isn't a bigger club than West Ham, but they have been there on a regular basis in the Premier League. If I should compare him to a Bowser, Shamar Nicholson, his club that he plays for is more recognized than the team in Mexico. But for me, Kenan Davis, who plays not only for Udinese, he used to play in the Premier League before. He played for various club teams like in Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa. So that is the reason why I look more towards Kenan Davis. But you never know, based on the starting amount of games for a Tyrese Campbell, based on how impactful he can be, then you never can tell if he wouldn't have been a better option than what we have right now to start or to come from the bench or even to outdo who I would love to represent the country. So, I mean, it is a scouting presentation here by Premier 7 as always, as I'm here to talk about the players who I think that JFF can look into, and I would love for my video to be seen by them as well, because sometimes they need assistance from those persons who are seen more from the outside. So this is something very important looking on a Tyrese Campbell. His profile is very good for a guy who hasn't hit his peak as yet, because looking on his percentiles information here, something that stood out to me was the the touches. 91 percentile. I won't say as a player who will hold on to the ball too often, but his rating in terms of touching the ball, caressing the ball at his feet, it shows then that this guy is capable of making his team be more in possession to have the ball to distribute quite well. Also, for him, in terms of his non-penalty goals XG, 95 percentile. So he's not a person who you can say he only score goals penalty-wise. It shows that this guy is capable of scoring goals that is in play, that the ball is moving, that the ball is there to be kicked and placed into the net where it should always be. This guy is not a person who you can rely on to give you assists, but remember the versatility that he have. He can play right across the board. He's a central target who will make himself flexible enough to assist in terms of playing different position, but he's that man who will, it's like a trickster in the box, who you can then, if the defenders to say aren't really up to par to understand his movements, then he will score a lot of goals. And to let you know, Ellis Sims was a player that Jamaica was looking on. Nothing really talking about Ellis Sims right now. And to reiterate, Sheffield United defeated Ellis Sims' team. So that shows you then that this guy is playing more impactful game currently than a Ellis Sims. So even from the defensive perspective, this guy, based on his height, he can block the ball quite well. He's in the 85 percentile range, so you can then rely on him to take Jamaica out of difficult situation as a very good player, or let's say as a good player in a defensive way. Because even though defending is not his priority, as players, you should have that skill set to at least defend your team. So Jamaica normally concedes goal in late minutes. If we're leading by way of say 2 goals and are not, and in the latter stage of the game we concede, let's say, a 1 goal, and they should take another chance at us or another shot at us, then having a Tyrese Campbell in position, then this guy can somehow help Jamaica to to wrap up the victory. Now, I normally talk about the good things about players, and I am not someone who decides to bash players. It is not something that I do. I want to let you know that this guy, though, he has struggled with injuries, though. It affects his consistency, and no one wants for our country to look into players who are injury prone. Is he injury prone, by the way? I won't say, but he undergo injuries that will affect us. And Michael Antonio, he has went through that accident before. Thank God he has not passed away. Dujon Whisper, who is a striking option as well, he I don't think he even recovers fully as yet. And Bowser is not in the best of form coming back to Jamaica to play. He hasn't shown that skills that we want for him to play, even though he has improved playing in Mexico. And Mason Greenwood, who I think would be better as a right winger for us, is not here as yet. So we have to keep our options open in getting players who can make us a better team. Now, the major concern is if this guy wants to play for Jamaica. We understand that his father was a big time footballer who plays in England. It is something that we can look on to say then that look at a Onande Lowe, who was the father of a Damian Lowe. Sometimes you have to look on how things travels in the bloodline, because even though Onandelo is a better player than than his son in a Damian Lowe, it shows that the talent continues in the generation, and it is the same thing for a Tyrese Campbell. Now, playing for a team in the championship who more so will go into the Premier League next season, as we can understand, there is nothing openly stated that publicly this guy expresses interest to play for Jamaica, but he's quite young. He's in his mid-20s. So, I mean, he have that experience, that exposure to play football at a level that is better than many players who we currently have. And I know Jamaica wants to go forward. We want to be forward thinking. And I had conversation with friends before saying that Jamaica have enough players from the JPL representing now, so we want to get players who can upgrade the team. And here we have a Tyrese Campbell who could be on the books if Jamaica makes the efforts to get him in. Now, this is something crucial in terms of should Jamaica pursue him. It is a lot of work for our coach to do. It is a lot of work for JFF to do, seeing that some players are currently getting their passports sorted out. I believe that Mason Greenwood would be in the packing order, maybe a Lewis Baker as well. I'm not sure if a Keenan Davis is there, but we are not sure about who will be coming in. We want to have our players coming in before the Gold Cup kicks in because we're qualified. We're going to play in a Unity Cup in England against teams like Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Nigeria. So that will be a good game to expose our players into. But do we have the depth enough to get these players representing? At the end of the day, we don't want for our players to sustain any injuries in the Unity Cup because there along the way we have the Gold Cup in the summer, and also we also have the World Cup qualification games to play. So we want our best of the best players to represent us in the most crucial games like the Gold Cup and the qualification games for the World Cup. So we need depth. We need players who can step up to the plate and to represent Jamaica. So for me personally, I think we can look into recruiting this guy or to pursue him, seeing that his quality would add substance to the national team in terms of depth, competing to players like Michael Antonio, Demarai Gray, Leon Bailey, and the list goes on. I am not saying that this guy is going to come in right away and take player's spot, but it will give Jamaica that confidence that we need to represent. And with him, he have dual nationalities, so we can then fight against England to get this guy. Yes, he may want to play for England, but we never hear him express that he wants to play for England because he understands the nature of England in terms of the packing order. This guy reminds me somewhat of a Ivan Toney based on how he plays this game. So I think then that it would be an option for Jamaica to pursue him. The style of play isn't bad because once we supply him with deliveries in the box, I think he have the capabilities to get some goals or to make a few assists. So, people, what is your say though on this player in terms of having a Tyrese Campbell being a part of the Jamaica camp? I think it would be an ideal option for us to look into things and try to pursue him. It may be difficult, so we have to start from now. So, people, what is your say on the topic? Tyrese Campbell, a talent Jamaica should pursue or must pursue? The truth reveal. I have done my part and I would love to hear from you again, people, on the channel. Please note I want to hit at least 1,800 subscribers before the month ends. It is just a few days away, so even when April kicks in, then I would love to achieve that target. So people, drop your comment in the comment section for me to reply surrounding the topic, because when you do, Premier 7 will just speak the truth. So take care, goodbye, until we meet again.